There is a new disease that has started spreading like a wildfire amongst people all over the civilized world, and it can be quite painful for some of those who are infected. It's quite contagious and foremost affects your neurological system. In severe cases, it even prevents you from taking advantages of the downloaded energy from the sun and the galactic center. In fact, it's not only contagious, but also causes severe addiction, especially in children and young adults. If a person is contaminated in their younger years, this disease can become chronic and affect them for the rest of their life, which normally will be shorter than normal. Which disease am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about electronicism, the misuse of electronics. Ah, that's funny, some may say, that is not a disease. Yes, it is. It has all the characteristics of a disease, and it certainly affects people's neurology after a while. The term electronicism is of course made up, but the rest is not. We are living in a world where people become more and more addicted to electronics. Not only from using them all the time at work, but many continue when they come home as well. You see young teenagers walking down the street, and 8 out of 10 are busy doing something with their cell phones, iPads, or whatever little device it may be. Very rarely, if at all, do they look up to see what is happening around them. They are crossing the street, using their peripheral vision, hoping no one will run them over. I am always careful when I'm driving and see a young person text on their phone while they're walking. These are the devices of the gods. They used similar electronic machines when they were here during Sumerian time, and they, too, were addicted to them, although that was not all the gods were addicted to. Gold was another thing. For us, that will perhaps just be a matter of time, as well, as we want to prolong our lifespan. The gods sniffed it like cocaine, and according to air they still do. The main problems with electronics is that they really destroy our neurological system, and the person who is overusing them can get very sick, and it may be painful. Doctors often don't know why the person is hurting, except that they can see it's a neurological problem. The disease does not show up on blood tests. Especially now, during the nanosecond, when the gamma rays are affecting our neurology, it's important not to contaminate it with electronics, or people may miss out on everything they were here for. And don't think for a moment that this wasn't timed by the Sirian alliance and their human puppets. They knew when to escalate the use of electronics in society. If you look back in time, 1987 to 2012, which is the nanosecond, has also been when the rapid increase in electronics has happened. Not a coincidence. When looking at this at a first glance, it looks like we are losing a generation or two due to electronics, and to a large degree we are. In reality, we will probably lose more than that, as many of our young generation will continue into the machine kingdom and embrace even more sophisticated machines. There is no shortage of technology the Sirians so generously can give us to splurge in. The electronics won't go away, quite the opposite. There is no use in fighting it, but it's imperative that we, who want to work on ourselves and help others do the same, stay away from these devices as much as we can. And believe it or not, but the cell phones are spying devices as well. Big Brother can check on what you're doing even when the phone is off. People normally think that's bogus, but it's not. It's done via the same satellites they are tuned into in order to work at all. It's a piece of cake for the elite to use them as tracking and spy devices as well. On the other hand, there is another kind of people who are growing up right now, who are not into high-tech at all, and some of them are contacting me. They are still in their teens and early 20s, and I am very amazed how aware and conscious these young people are. They wouldn't dream of getting stuck in electronics. They are very well aware of the risks, and moreover, they know a whole lot of what is going on in the world, and they are very spiritually evolved. It's a pleasure to read their emails and see that there is hope. A common denominator with them is that they seem to have been born with their awareness and level of consciousness. That's what the majority of them are telling me. Some of them are very psychic and quite multi-D, and were so before they really knew what that is. Some people call them indigo children, but I prefer just to call them gifted, because indigo children has too much stigma attached to them. It is very important not to treat these children as if they are special in the sense that they are for more than everybody else. We need to acknowledge their abilities, of course, and support them in accomplishing their goals, but they need to be treated like everybody else in all other respects, or we lose them, too. They are a big part of our hope for the future, so we'd better make sure we support them, but at the same time treat them as normal kids. And even if they decide to live normal lives and ignore their abilities, it's their choice.